Welcome to Blind Abilities. This podcast is brought to you by Aira. Today we present Lyft, an interview with Tommy Hayes and Marco Salsiccia with Lyft Incorporated. They'll be talking about the accessibility of the Lyft app, the partnership between Lyft and Aira, and what's coming up at the NFB National Convention 2018 in Orlando, Florida. And now, without further ado, we present Lyft.
Did you see that? That's a Lyft.
It's an app in your phone. It allows you to request a ride from a driver in your area who can pick you up and take you exactly where you're going. All in the app. We take safety really seriously. All of our drivers are background checked.
With 2 different background checks.
Since day one, inclusivity and accessibility of transportation has been a big priority for the company. And through partnership with the National Federation of the Blind and many other groups, we've been able to learn from the best and make sure that our product is accessible.
They're real people who care about their passengers.
They actually brought me in to sit down with another blind gentleman. We both sat down with the tech team here and showed them how we use voiceover on our iPhone.
We got SUVs, fancy rides, even fancy rides.
What we're doing in July at the NFB convention in Orlando is a continuation of a partnership that we kicked off with Aira.
Just download the app and tap for a ride.
It allows Aira agents to connect to your Lyft account to request rides for you. They'll tell you all the information you need to know, like when the driver is going to get there, who the driver is, what type of car it is, and then they'll guide you to the car.
With Lyft, you just tap to get wherever you want.
The agent ordered me the Lyft. I walked down, they guided me to the car, they guided me to the bakery, to the cashier. I was able to get my food, and then got me another Lyft and brought me back home.
We'll pick you up.
We got together with our friends at Aira and decided that in Orlando during the days of the NFB convention in July, from the moment you land at the Orlando airport, you'll be able to connect with an Aira agent free of charge. Lyft and Aira are sponsoring Aira Minute for people to try it while they're there for however many days they may be at the convention.
So that's it? That's it.
Yeah, it just kind of really helps complete the entire process of taking the Lyft.
We'll be there. Just a ride when you need it.
Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson.
And I'm Pete Lane. With us today are 2 employees from the Lyft Corporation. I'd like to introduce Tommy Hayes and Marco Salsiccia. Good afternoon, Tommy and Marco. Welcome to Blind Abilities. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us your titles?
Sure. Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having us. I'm Tommy Hayes, and I'm the Policy Partnerships Manager here at Lyft. So I'm on our public policy team, and I work with various organizations and government agencies on partnerships that help us advance accessibility in our app and on our platform.
And I'm Marco Salsiccia. I'm the accessibility specialist here at Lyft, just making sure the app and site works for blind people and people with other disabilities as well.
And you are blind, Marco, and you are an Aira Explorer, are you not?
That's true. I'm fully blind and I'm an Aira Explorer.
Well, I got to say, you guys done a great job of making the accessibility of the app for Lyft awesome. Great job.
Oh, I'm patting Marco on the back. That's all Marco.
Thank you. That's great to hear.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the app and how it works?
Yeah, you want to tag team this one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So Lyft is a peer-to-peer ride-sharing platform. We've been around since 2012. Ride-sharing is pretty familiar now, so we fortunately don't have to, educate people as much as we used to have to on how it works. But indeed, it's an app in your phone. It allows you to request a ride from a driver in your area who can pick you up and take you exactly where you're going. All in the app. It's a cashless ride. You plug your credit card into the app itself. Some of the kind of features that we're really proud of, I'll let Marco talk about the accessibility features, but just generally, we take safety really seriously. All of our drivers are background checked, and we have a real-time rating system where passengers can rate the quality of their ride and driver. And, as a result of our growth over the last 6 years, I guess now, we're connecting over 1 million rides a day in all 50 states and Ontario, Canada now. And since day one, inclusivity and accessibility of transportation has been a big priority for the company. And through partnership with the National Federation of the Blind and many other groups, we've been able to learn from the best and make sure that our product is accessible to all. So Marco, actually, I'm going to hand it over to you if you don't mind telling kind of the brief story of how we came to find you in the first place. I just love it. And you can tell a little bit about some of the work you do as well.
Yeah, sure. So, I went blind 4 years ago and been through the Lighthouse for the Blind and the DOR. I've been working to try to get back into working capacity. And in the meantime, Lyft was an absolute lifesaver. While I was still learning O&M and how to get around San Francisco, Lyft was able to still get me out and meet up with friends and just go out and do things again. So in 2015, when Lyft released a full update to the app, it completely broke like everything in terms of accessibility. The interface was all messed up. There were a lot of problems, and it was virtually impossible to get a ride. And so I sent them a really angry tweet and sent them a bunch of feedback. And a product ops manager saw it, and rather than just sending me like a macro, like, oh, we're sorry about this email, they actually brought me in to sit down with another blind gentleman named Jennison. We both sat down with the tech team here and showed them how we use VoiceOver on our iPhones and how the Lyft app was working on it. And they realized how badly they broke it. And after a few more sessions, they brought me on a regular basis, and they basically kind of created the job to be the end user specialist, to work on the app and work on the features and have people bring me the features to test and kind of be the overall evangelist for accessibility throughout the company and all the aspects of the company. And so that's kind of the working relationship I have with them right now.
Did you have an engineering or any kind of a computer background?
Out of college, I was a quality engineer for a software development company, but I had a completely different tack on life before I lost my vision. I was an animator and a visual effects artist for commercials and movies and TV. So I was definitely a power user and very much into engineering and design. But yeah, I'm just translating all the QA stuff I used to do into what I'm doing now with the addition of all the accessibility stuff I deal with on a daily basis.
Well, that speaks loud of Lyft to realize the importance of making it inclusive and bringing on someone that actually knows a little bit about the voiceover and accessibility. So good job to Lyft and good job to you, Marco.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely.
It's awesome for them to do that.
Yeah, Marco's been an invaluable asset to us, and the same philosophy that, there are moments where we have to be humble and realize we don't know how to do everything, and Marco's there. The NFB has been great, and I'll comment too that Marco does a ton of great work on the app itself and making sure as we're moving a million miles an hour and releasing updates and new versions of the app, Marco has a big job of really monitoring to make sure that, we don't break too much stuff. People in tech love to break stuff. On the passenger side as well, we updated our service animal policy a little over a year ago to make it really explicitly clear to our driver base that service animals must be accommodated.
Riders with service animals. When it comes to transporting riders with service animals, drivers on the Lyft platform should remember one thing. Always say yes. That's because drivers must comply with applicable laws and Lyft service animal policy. The law and Lyft service animal policy state that drivers may not deny service or otherwise discriminate against passengers with service animals. This means that drivers must transport a rider with a service animal regardless of whether a driver is allergic or afraid of these animals or has a religious or cultural objection to them. A service animal is an animal, usually a dog, that is trained to perform tasks for an individual with a disability, like blindness or deafness. Service animals are not required to wear a tag or vest or be registered. Riders with service animals do not need to display any kind of proof that their animal is a service animal. In other words, if a rider with a dog says it is a service animal, the driver should transport the rider. A driver may ask 2 questions to verify that a rider's animal is a service animal. 1. Is the animal required because of a disability? 2. What work or task has the animal been trained to perform? If a driver has a question or concern about the policy, or would like to report a rider who they suspect is abusing the policy, they should call the service animal hotline after they transport the rider and their service animal to their desired destination.
We worked with the NFB to design that policy, strengthen it, and really send a strong message of inclusion, but also education, and worked to profile and tell some stories of the amazing people who use Lyft, sometimes with the assistance of a service animal, just to kind of educate our drivers about, what is a service animal and all the kind of wonderful things that service animals do, and that they're not just, a typical dog, for instance. There's always more to be done, but, we find that through partnership, we are on the path to where we want to be.
Yeah, because I downloaded the app, installed it, went through all the processes, and everything I was curious about, I was able to access and complete, even getting my credit card in there, and it just worked out great. Because it's important, if you download it, you will be able to use it in the partnership that's coming up this July. Can you talk about that?
I'd love to talk about what we're doing in July at the NFB convention in Orlando. It's sort of a continuation of a partnership that we kicked off with Aira. And Marco, I don't know if you might be better equipped to kind of characterize the initial kind of announcement that we did with Aira and what it means for Aira explorers.
Right. So if you're an Aira explorer and you use Lyft and you have a Lyft account, you can log into the Aira app and input your Lyft credentials. And basically it allows Aira agents to connect to your Lyft account to request rides for you. So working through the Explorer process, they'll be able to request a ride. They'll tell you all the information you need to know, like when the driver is going to get there, who the driver is, what type of car it is. And of course, you're able to open the app and look at all that yourself. But they basically arrange it, and then they'll guide you to the car to make sure you get into the right one. They confirm, like looking at the license plate, they have their own process, but they have the map. They can stay with you in the ride to make sure it's completed appropriately and that you're safe.
Hi Juan, thanks for calling Aira. This is Erin.
Hi Erin. I'm at Kellogg Park in La Jolla Shores. I need to get to the corner bakery.
Looks like the closest corner bakery to you is on La Jolla Village Drive. Does that sound familiar?
That's it.
What type of transportation are you looking to use today, Juan?
I'd like to use Lyft.
Juan, because you're in the middle of the park, it might be best for you to walk towards a parking lot, which is north of the park shortly, for the Lyft driver to find you easier.
Sus. Forward.
But if you'll turn to the right, there's a long patch of shade here, and it's probably best to park yourself there, why we call the Lyft ride. Okay, great. So it looks like we have Raphael, and he's got a 4.9 rating. So it says on my dashboard that the driver is arriving to the pickup location. So he's actually pulling in front of you now. He is turning around here. You're at the back passenger's door, and you should be riding with Raphael.
Hi, are you Raphael?
Yes.
Hi.
How are you, sir?
Good, how you doing?
I have the corner bakery in sight here out of the car window.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day, yeah? You too.
Perfect. And I see you're just outside of the doors at corner bakery here, Juan. So if you walk forward, you're gonna walk towards a set of pole doors.
Thanks, Erin.
Sure, my pleasure.
Yeah, it's just really, really helpful for your door to the car and from the car to your destination. Just kind of really helps complete the entire process of taking the Lyft.
Yeah, Marco was able to demo that for a crew of us here at Lyft from a number of different departments, and it was really astounding. We're excited that the partnership has gone great so far, and we got together with our friends at Aira and decided that we're going to announce that in Orlando during the days of the NFB convention in July, just coming right up, from the moment you land at the Orlando airport, you'll be able to connect with an Aira agent free of charge. So basically, Lyft and Aira are sponsoring Aira Minute for people to try it while they're there for, however many days they may be at the convention. So we encourage people to use it. The Aira Minutes will be credited while you're at the convention site, walking around the booths, making your way around the big hotel there, convention center, and for anybody who wants to go off campus, explore the town, try a Lyft as well. If you're logged into the Aira agent, those minutes will be covered. We're excited to make that happen, and Marco and I will both be there. So come by the Lyft booth, and we may be making some guest appearances at the Aira booth as well, I think. As an incentive to come by the Lyft booth, we'll have some coupon codes to get some discounts on your Lyft.
Super.
Oh, there you go. Tommy, you might not be familiar with this, but Marco, you can tell him. When you said, after the ride, sometimes it's that last 30 feet. You get out of the vehicle, they say you're there, but now you have to find the door, and that's where Aira can come into play really well.
Yeah. The first time I tried the Aira and Lyft integration, I was at my house in San Francisco and I had the Aira agent look up a bakery that I wanted to go to. I want to go get a breakfast sandwich. So they looked it up. Of course, the website for the bakery, the menu was a PNG image, so I couldn't read it. The agent pulled up the menu. They told me what was on it. They wrote down what I wanted. They ordered me the Lyft. I walked down. They guided me to the car. I disengaged with the agent for the car ride, but then when I got dropped off, I immediately turned it back on. They guided me to the bakery, to the cashier. I was able to get my food. They described the entire inside of the restaurant because it was a really fancy bakery, and then got me another Lyft and brought me back home. That was just a really, really unique and interesting integration. It just worked really, really well.
Great use case.
It definitely helps bolster independence.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
App Store. Search, tab, 505. Lyft, affordable rides on demand, 4 3/4 stars, 262K ratings, button, GET, button.
So, Marco, quick question back on the app. Is the Lyft app available for both iOS and Android?
Yes, it's available for both platforms.
And you work on the Android side as far as the accessibility of the app goes as well?
Right. I primarily work on iOS, but I do go to the Android side. We were really focusing on iOS, but I also brought attention to Android, and the fixes we were able to get into the Android version of the app fixed a few core issues like rating the driver and just basic navigation through the app so it's usable. But we definitely know that there is a lot to improve. for the Android experience.
Yeah, Marco does a great job protecting kind of the golden path, as we call it, in terms of just making sure that from opening the app to requesting a ride, taking the ride, pay and rate, that kind of obviously core experience is functional. And then, of course, all the bells and whistles on top of that are great. But I think overall, Marco can probably speak to this, one of our philosophies around universal accessibility is to keep the app as simple and user-friendly as possible, and the kinds of things, hopefully, that we can do to make ease of use great for blind or low vision passengers also makes it great for everybody else. Simple is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like that. I checked out the referrals where if you refer someone and they join, they can get $2 off their next 5 rides. That was a neat feature. The carpooling, where you could receive 30 to 60% off your ride. Lots of neat stuff in there. And if anyone downloads this, just check it out. It's all accessible. You can read up all. I feel like I'm an expert already on it, and I just checking it out, and I'm all set for a convention now.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad you mentioned kind of the carpooling version of the ride. It really speaks to Lyft's origins. We actually started as a carpooling company called Zimride back in 2007, which was kind of a city-to-city carpooling platform. The bulletin board in college where people would post they were driving home to Los Angeles from Santa Barbara. We took that and put it on the web and allowed people to coordinate shared rides for longer distances. And, that ethos about kind of community and efficient transportation by letting people share rides still lives on today. And we've really been pushing, our shared rides version where you might be able to share the ride with somebody going a similar direction as you for a discount. I think it's about 35% of our rides in the cities that have that mode enabled.
Yeah, I have to say that the line rides or the shared rides are one of my favorite aspects of Lyft because you just never know who you're going to get matched with.
Right.
The core tenet of the company is just the personality, like the community of Lyft is so friendly and fun that most of the passengers you get and the drivers you get are just super friendly and they're talkative, and it really makes that long ride home a lot of fun.
Excellent.
It's always interactive.
Well, that matches up very well with Aira then, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure does.
Yeah.
Marco, for the new explorers and new users of the Lyft app, could you give us a quick Lyft app 101?
Yeah, so for new users of Lyft, after you get through the sign-up process, it's pretty logically laid out, and you get your payment option in there. The first thing you're able to do is set your pickup location. So you just enter an address of where you want to get picked up, and once you pass that screen, you're able to choose the type of ride you want. So we have a variety of different kinds of rides, as we mentioned. There's the line or the shared ride, where along the way to your final destination, you'll pick up people along the way. So it's a little bit of a longer ride, but it's definitely useful when you're not in a big rush to get to where you're going. So be wary of that. But there's the classic Lyft, which is just one driver comes and picks you up, and then you're able to have 3 other people in the ride with you. With a line, you can only have yourself or one other person. There's a Lyft Plus, which is a large SUV. So if you have a bunch of luggage or if you have up to 5 or 6 people, they'll be able to have a car that'll accommodate you. We also have Premier, which is a fancy car with leather seats.
All right.
When you're feeling fancy.
Yeah. And then if you're really feeling fancy, we have Lux and Lux SUV, which are like just really nice limousine style cars that'll just, for all those really fun white tie, white cane events.
Right.
And once you pick that up, then you hop in your destination. And you get to see the price, you get to see how long it'll take for the car to get to you, and then you'll set your payment information and all that, and you're on the ride. And then when you're dropped off, you're able to pay the driver, you rate the driver, all the accountability is there, so you can give them a star rating, check off exactly what you liked about the ride, leave a comment. It's all there, and if anything happens to go wrong in the ride, like if you have a 3 stars or below, then you'll be contacted by a member of our team, and we'll try to figure out, ways to make the situation better or figure out exactly what was going on. So there's accountability all across the line, but that's basically Lyft in a nutshell.
That's great.
That's excellent. We're speaking with Tommy Hayes and Marco Salsiccia from the Lyft Corporation. Got it right that time. They've been speaking to us about the ease of use and the accessibility features of the Lyft app and their partnership with Aira. Both Tommy and Marco will be present at the NFB National Convention in Orlando the week of July 2nd. So definitely go to the booth and seek them out and ask any questions that you have.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Marco. It's been great.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks so much, you guys.
All right.
There
nice
go.
talking to you both.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Did you see that? That's a Lyft.
So this is ride sharing.
Yep. With Lyft, you just tap to get wherever you want.
So no more parking?
Nope.
This concludes our chat with Tommy Hayes and Marco Salsiccia with Lyft Incorporated. We'd like to thank Tommy and Marco for joining us on the podcast. Once again, you'll see them in Orlando at the NFB 2018 National Convention. They will be in booth B as in Baker 12. Likewise, you can catch Aira there. Aira will be in booths B1 and B2. This podcast is brought to you by Aira. Thanks everybody for listening, and have a great day.
So where do I sit?
Wherever you want.
And my friends can come, right?
Of course.
So that's it?
That's it. Just a ride when you need it.
Cool.
Pretty sweet, huh?
Oh, yeah.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the
limited expectations
and the
reality
of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.